Hey PS Nation, Bitterman here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Sniper Ghost Warrior 2 for the PlayStation 3. The Sniper Ghost Warrior 2 puts you in the boots of Captain Cole Anderson to help track down and secure a bioweapon that's being sold on the black market. The game takes place in 3 different locations from around the globe, from the jungles of Burma to the urban combat of war-torn Sarajevo, to finally the mountains of Tibet. When I started the game, I was really getting into the story, but somewhere between the first and the second part, I found myself really not caring about the characters or the story. I was playing the game just to finish it and not really see what happened next. The visuals in Sniper 2 can sometimes be pretty good, and at other times not so good. I ran across a couple minor graphical glitches here and there, like at one point I saw what seemed to be a sheet of wood suspended in midair. Another times, I shot an enemy and his body slid up some stairs. While in the jungle missions, I saw plants that seemed cel-shaded in a sense, with a dark, bold outline on the leaves. It really seemed out of place in my opinion. The Burma and the Tibet missions sported some of the prettiest visuals, while the Sarajevo mission had the blandest visuals. It was really hit and miss in the graphics department for this game.
Threat down. Okay, let's move.
Gameplay ranges from very fun to very frustrating. Taking down entire outposts full of enemies without anyone knowing you're there is pretty cool, but being forced to deal with soldiers rushing you while you only have a bolt-action rifle and a silenced pistol to defend yourself, it can be a true pain. There are moments where this is inevitable and can't be avoided no matter how careful you are with the shots. The different difficulties give or take away this little red circle that appears in your scope and lets you know exactly where your bullet's going to hit. Some shots take you into this cinematic slow motion effect that follows the round as it leaves your weapon and hits the target. This is a really neat effect, but when it hits your target, it sounds like someone smashing a watermelon. The controls were sort of a bother for me. Not the button layout, that was fine, but the character movement was really sluggish. I had to turn the look sensitivity up really high just to get the look speed to a point I was comfortable with. I'm not sure why I had a problem with this, but the walk speed sometimes, he just seemed like he was going for a slow stroll than a fast-paced walk like in most shooters. And this can sometimes be a bother when trying to move from one point to another without actually sprinting. The multiplayer for Sniper 2 is by far the worst part of the game. There's only one game mode, Team Deathmatch, but there's only 2 maps to play this on. Every online match I played on had the lowest connection strength for everyone but the host, which didn't have a better connection either. Once again, the character movement felt sluggish as in the single player, but I felt like this was more noticeable in multiplayer. Whenever you scored a kill, you were given 100 points, but I couldn't tell where these points were going. There's no stat tracking, there's no unlocks, or anything like that. The only way I could see an accrual of points was in the leaderboard, but even that only kept up with the top 1,000 players. The multiplayer weapons, from what I could tell, they weren't really anything different from one another except for cosmetic changes. They were all one-shot kills except for the pistol, and they had about the same amount of zoom, and range was no problem with the little red circle that indicated exactly where the bullet was going to hit. After playing the multiplayer for a couple hours, it got really old and very repetitive. In conclusion, Sniper Ghost Warrior 2 wasn't that great of a game. From the very forgetful story to the sluggish character movement, it just failed to impress. The multiplayer feels like it was tacked on at the very last minute just so they can say there's multiplayer in the game. You can find this game on disc and downloadable from the PlayStation Store for $39.99, but I just couldn't recommend picking it up for that price. My final score for this one is a 4.5. I had high hopes for this game because of what could have been done, but it was ultimately a letdown.